going, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maddison Hill, and yes, it's time for another Pop Off with Maddison. For today's Pop Off, I'm obviously going to talk about Jamie Lynn Spears in her interview on Good Morning America, where she went to talk about her new book that's coming out, and of course, she also brought the crocodile tears. As you guys can probably tell already, I was not about this interview at all. Jamie Lynn sat up there and somewhat answered questions about her involvement in Britney Spears' 13-year-long conservatorship, but I also want to mention there was a lot of dodging of questions as well. Jamie Lynn also addressed her and Britney Spears' current rift that they have, and you know she was sure to mention that she's always loved and supported her sister. Meanwhile, Britney Spears is over on her Instagram and savagely, subtly, but not so subtly responding to her sister's book that's coming out. She teased that maybe she should write a book herself. Obviously, I'm all here for it, but you guys, there is just so much freaking tea when it comes to this interview. We've been following the whole Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears thing from the beginning of this conservatorship battle. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time and get to breaking down this Jamie Lynn Spears exclusive interview and these Britney Spears facts. All right, so for those of you who don't know, Jamie Lynn Spears is releasing a memoir about her life titled Things I Should Have Said, and it's coming out on January 18th. Just a little side note, allegedly the original title of Jamie Lynn's book was I Must Confess, and then it was like the story of fame, fortune, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Obviously, when Britney Spears fans got word that she was trying to name her book I Must Confess, they were not here for it and put an end to it immediately, as they should. Anyway, in preparation for this book release, of course, Jamie Lynn Spears is doing a lot of press, starting with an exclusive interview on Good Morning America this morning. Now, because this was a decently long interview, in this video, I'm just gonna fill you guys in on what I thought the biggest takeaways were. Of course, if you wanna watch the interview in its entirety after this video, you can watch it over on Good Morning America. Now, first of all, Jamie Lynn Spears addressed why she felt now is the perfect time to write and release a book about her life and growing up in the Spears family. Jamie noted that it was important for her to, quote, honor her voice, and that she also wanted to speak up for herself as an example for her two daughters, because if she can't speak up for herself, then how can she expect them to do the same? Personally, I still feel like that doesn't really answer the whole why is this the right time question, but whatever, we must continue. Jamie Lynn then, of course, obviously talked about growing up with Britney Spears. She said that she always adored her older sister and that she actually looked to Britney like a second mom because, as you guys know, they have a 10-year age difference. Then along the way, Jamie Lynn says that something changed. In fact, in her book, she describes Britney's changing behavior as, quote, erratic, paranoid, and spiraling. When Jamie Lynn was questioned about her word choices and Britney's current state of mind, Jamie Lynn said she, quote, can't really speak to anyone else's state of mind. She continued saying, quote, I don't think that's fair, but I'm allowed to say how I felt in those moments because that matters. It matters that I was in pain. Moving right along, Jamie Lynn Spears was then asked about her sister's 13-year-long conservatorship, which we all know Britney Spears described this conservatorship as abusive, and she's also put it on the record that at some point she wants to sue her entire family for what they all put her through. In this Good Morning America interview, Jamie Lynn claimed that at the time the conservatorship was put in place, she was 17 years old, about to have a baby, and she claims to know as little about the conservatorship now as she did back then. As far as her role in the conservatorship, Jamie Lynn says there was a time when her sister put her on her trust and will to make sure her boys, quote, got what they needed, which we all obviously already knew this information. Jamie Lynn went on to make a comment that whether or not Britney Spears was in a conservatorship, she felt that this was something that was very normal. However, Jamie Lynn Spears went on to say that once she realized her sister was in a conservatorship, she decided that this was something she, quote, didn't want to be a part of until her sister was out of the conservatorship. You guys, I'm telling you, whenever Britney was brought up, she basically just talked in circles, but this next quote really got me. Jamie Lynn then went on to say, quote, there was no like me overseeing funds or something like that. And if that was, it was a misunderstanding. But either way, I took no steps to be a part of it. Ugh, I have so much to say about that quote, but we must continue. Jamie Lynn then went on to try to plead her case that she only ever tried to help Britney when she was in the conservatorship. Jamie Lynn claims she, quote, went out of her way to get her sister contacts that she needed to try to get out of the conservatorship. Jamie Lynn then went on to also claim that she tried to speak with Britney's previous legal team and that it didn't end well for her. She maintains that she did everything she could on her end to try and get the conservatorship to end, but it was up to Britney to, quote, walk through the door. Ugh, I just can't. Of course, then Jamie Lynn Spears was asked if she was happy that the conservatorship is over, and obviously she said she is. But obviously, as we all know, despite the conservatorship being over, Jamie Lynn Spears and Britney Spears still do not get along, and Jamie Lynn Spears did address this as well. First, she actually addressed, you guys remember a while back when Britney Spears called out her family, she talked about that Radio Disney Music Awards performance where Jamie Lynn was up there singing her songs. She talked about how that was so disrespectful. Jamie Lynn Spears addressed that during this interview. She said she didn't understand why Britney was upset, and she also claims to have spoken about this to Britney one-on-one. She claims that issue is resolved, and she still maintains she doesn't know why it bothered her. And as far as all the other issues the sisters have in their relationship, we all know that this rift between them is absolutely ongoing. Of course, Jamie Lynn Spears maintains that she just loves her sister. Jamie Lynn said, quote, "That love is still there 100%. I love my sister. I've only ever loved and supported her and done what's right by her, and she knows that. So I don't know why we're in this position right now." I mean, I cannot one eye roll hard enough. Now, real quick before I pop off, I do want to fill you guys in on Britney Spears' most recent Instagram post that seems like a subtle response to all of this buzz around Jamie Lynn's new book that's coming out. She posted this Instagram post of a typewriter and flowers, and she captioned it saying, "Shall I start from the beginning?" And all I can say, Britney, is yes, you freaking should. All right, you guys, clearly I am ready to just get into all of my thoughts about this. When it comes to Britney Spears, I still don't totally feel appropriate popping bottles and shambonging, because we are still talking about the conservatorship, and we are still talking about the poor treatment Britney Spears suffered under the hands of the conservatorship. So instead, we're just gonna send positive vibes to our girl Britney now that she's out and free. And we're also gonna hydrate because I admittedly am really bad about drinking my water. Cheers. Okay, so here's the thing. If you guys have watched any of my previous pop-offs about Jamie Lynn Spears, you know that I am just not a fan at all. I think she's someone that likes to pretend to be this naive Southern sweetheart who doesn't know anything, when in reality, she's been kicking back, relaxing, and profiting off her sister's pain for 13 years. And if I can be completely honest with you guys, this interview just reinstilled what I already think about Jamie Lynn Spears. The fact that she sat up there and said that as of today, she knows as little about the conservatorship as she did when she was 17 is just absolutely ridiculous to me. You know, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. When she was 17, I do believe on some level that she probably didn't really understand what was going on. She was young, she was pregnant. She talked about in this book how everybody wanted her to get rid of her pregnancy. She didn't want to, so therefore she was sent away to a cabin to, you know, be pregnant and alone. I do believe probably in that time, she didn't really understand what was going on with her older sister because she had a lot going on personally. But in the past 13 years, Jamie Lynn Spears is trying to sit up here and tell us she didn't understand what was happening to her sister, and she didn't understand the severity of the conservatorship, but also at the same time you were trying to give your sister contacts and trying to talk to her legal team to end the conservatorship. Like, which is it, Jamie Lynn? Were you naive and didn't understand what was happening, or you knew and you were trying to help her? You can't be both. Personally, I feel like somewhere along the way when it came to Jamie Lynn's involvement with the conservatorship, she realized that it was more beneficial for her and probably her family to just be quiet, sit back, relax, and again, profit off her sister. Again, that's just my own personal opinion. Now, as far as Jamie Lynn's role in the conservatorship, we do know that she was put in charge of making sure that Britney's sons were taken care of. And you know, that is a huge role. We know above all else, Britney Spears absolutely worships the ground her two sons walk on. She above all else wants to make sure they're taken care of. And the fact that she did put her sister in charge of the trust and will regarding the Boyds, I think that was a huge deal that Jamie Lynn Spears absolutely took advantage of. Because that quote about her not taking funds, you guys, I just still cannot get over that. She literally said, "I never handled any funds, but if I did, it was a misunderstanding." How do you misunderstandingly, which I know that's not even a word, but how do you accidentally handle funds? Or when you're handling funds, it's a misunderstanding. You either handled the funds or you didn't. No misunderstanding there. She just absolutely did not answer the question, and her flip-flopping on that honestly just tells me everything that we need to know. And you know what? Even if she didn't directly take funds from Britney Spears while she was in that role in the conservatorship, let's just play devil's advocate here, she still took money out of Britney Spears' pocket when she was remixing her songs. She also was using Britney Spears' property in Florida for her own personal vacations. She wasn't paying for that. That's also coming out of Britney's pocket. Like, there are other instances aside from just taking money directly from her trust that Jamie Lynn Spears took advantage of. And again, I'm not here for her trying to play the victim and trying to say boo-hoo me. So ultimately, in my opinion, you guys, when it comes to this interview, no matter how you slice it or dice it, Jamie Lynn Spears is absolutely in the wrong. And I was in no way, shape, or form buying those crocodile tears that she was crying when talking about her sister. Having said that, I do also want to make it clear, while I strongly, obviously disagree with everything Jamie Lynn Spears in regards to her relationship with her sister and the conservatorship, I don't want to take away from the personal pain and trauma that she's been through. In this book, she talked about how difficult it was when she got pregnant at 17 and people wanted her to terminate the pregnancy. She didn't want to. That's why she was shipped away. She also talked talked about having severe anxiety, depression, and OCD, and also having to grow up with her father's alcoholism, which obviously Britney Spears also experienced as well. Her daughter also had a near-death experience, which also really affected her. I don't want to take away from Jamie Lynn's individual pain, because I do think those are all horrible things that no one should ever have to go through. But when it comes to her situation with her sister, how she treated her sister, her role in her sister's conservatorship, that is all behavior that I cannot condone. And you know what? I don't blame Britney Spears for never talking to her family again, never forgiving her family, suing them. I mean, hello, I don't think anyone in her position would blame her for feeling this way. I think her family needs to give her space. I think her family needs to give her time, leave her alone, let her live her best life, and you know what? Let her write a book. Because you already know that Britney Spears will spill all of the tea, and obviously we would be here for it. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you on Jamie Lynn Spears' latest exclusive interview with Good Morning America. I want to hear all of your thoughts and feels down below. While you guys are at it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and don't forget that notification bell. For more content, make sure you guys follow me over on Instagram and TikTok, and of course, don't forget to keep coming back to my channel to check out my YouTube shorts. You guys can also find all of my merch at my merch store at houseofhill.com. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!